because so this year I said I'll be back on the interview grind and stuff. And you got to be different from, say from everybody else. Okay, here we go.
Peace, my brother. What's going on? How you doing?
Hey, hey, how are you? Let me back away from the camera
Pretty.
just a little bit.
That's all good. Yeah, man. You know how it is, man. The cameraman, they will
Yeah,
push us so further ahead. I know, man, because just the cameras, that's definitely no joke. But just want to say congratulations on your new single, Stuck.
thank
You
you,
know, with
man.
just
Thank you, thank you,
released a
thank
couple
you.
of days ago and stuff. And I looked up your history, man. You've been doing this, man, for like over a decade, as an artist.
Uh, Something like that. I've been singing since the age of 3, but I've been officially
Yeah.
pursuing music for, I want to say about 8 years or close to. Around like
Yeah.
2014 really is where I started to put more effort into putting out original music, putting myself out there more
Yeah.
as an artist as
I mean, yeah, as
opposed to
far
just
as on the
pretending.
active,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I want to talk about your new single first, then we get to your history, so your upbringing and everything.
Absolutely.
Was this new single Stuck? Now, is this song, did you have this song in the bag a while back, or was this already like recently, ready to record?
Uh, so I wrote this in September of 2021, and we finally put like production into it actually in January of last year. So we've been sitting on it for about a year, and I was just like,
Okay,
okay, at the top of 2023, it's go time.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this song right here, you thought to yourself, like, you know what, this is the time, it's
Yeah.
perfect, to put it out. Was you in the rush of, put it out, or you just want to kind of like want things kind of like evolve for the right time, as far as business wise?
Not really a rush. It was more just kind of how my usual music making process is. I try to sit down and write everything out first and then put music to it. So it's kind of like in organized phases. So it's like write everything first, fine tune it, voice note it, all of that, then put production, put music to it, fine tune all of that, and then go in and try to record everything at one time, just so we can uh, basically for continuity and consistency and all of that, get everything recorded at one time, and then get everything mixed and mastered, and then from there figure out when do we want to put all of this out. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now is you your team working on like a lyric video until you get the official music video, or the official video is gonna come out first, or how that is going? I mean, how that process gonna go?
So we have, I don't want to give away too much. We have some more content coming. I'll say that. We have some
Yeah.
more content coming I'm excited about. Looking forward to sharing that with everybody fairly soon. Um, yeah, so I'll just say that we got more content coming.
Okay. All right. Now, growing up, as a kid, what inspired you as a child to want to sing? Who was one of like the top artists that made you want to sing? But before I say the artists, was it family or was it someone you saw on TV?
Actually, I grew up in a musical home. So my mom sings. And like I said, I've been singing since the age of 3. So a lot of it I picked up early on from her.
Right.
And just, singing around the house. And then eventually she put me in the kids' choir at church. And from there, a lot of my influences my earliest influences, you usually had like a church background. So like your Richard Smallwoods and John P. Keys and the Clark sisters, Daryl Coley, Vanessa Bell Armstrong, et cetera, et cetera. And then, as I got older, that's when we started to incorporate like the pop music influences, and then a little bit of classical here and there throughout school. But really, where I got into like my R&B bag is when I got into college because I was out in Atlanta for school, and so that's really where I was like, okay, let me, really get deep, like I said, into my R&B bag and find more influences, or people would be like, oh, you remind me of this person, which would cause me to go look this person up and listen to their music. So
Now, from the early beginnings, did you learn how to write songs when you was in school, or did that kind of like evolve, by the time you got to college?
writing for me, it's been a fine-tuning process over the years.
Yeah,
Some of my earliest childhood songs, the world will never hear because they were absolute garbage.
yeah,
In my opinion, at least, now,
yeah,
my mom and my grandparents may have liked them. It was like, oh, that's real cute. But, when you look back on it, it's like, that was terrible. Um,
yeah.
but around, like I said, around 2014 is where I started to really try to take my art,
Uh-huh.
where I really tried to take my artistry a bit more seriously. And that includes writing.
Yeah. Yeah, from there, you dropped your single called "You Don't Care." Now, how did that song came about?
Yeah, so that was my first song that I had really tried to push out there as a single or anything. Um, I was actually coming home from college, and just kind of in a space of uh, loneliness, if you will, because when you live in a smaller city and you go away to a bigger city for college, everybody is hitting you up and they're giving you all your props and your kudos and like, oh, you're doing it big and all of that. And so here I am coming back home and thinking, I'm kind of about to be the hometown hero. I'm about to be hanging out with everybody, and
Yeah,
it was kind of dry that summer. And so I just kind of felt like, well, does anybody really care? And I'll never forget, um, the idea for that song kind of woke me up out of my sleep. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, but it woke me
wow.
up out of my sleep. And shortly after, I'd say about an hour or so later, my mom had left and gone to work, and so I was at home for the day, and I just was like, let me grab some paper and just sit on the living room floor and try to write this out, write, what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yeah, during that period, was it like certain phases? You was kind of like you thought to yourself, like, you know what? Okay, I've experienced this. I now finally figured out, what it is that I need to do from there. Especially the early beginnings of your career, because sometimes we expect high expectations, but it's not like that. Sometimes it's like a hit and miss in everybody's starting out careers and stuff.
Like I said, it's been a lot of trial and error over the years and figuring stuff out as I go.
Yeah.
So with that first song, it was like it kind of served as confirmation, like, okay, I can put a song together. Um, but there was still a whole lot more that I had to learn and a whole lot more to go over the years. So
Absolutely. All right. 2 years later, you dropped a single called "Finally." Uh, so for after a 2 year span, what was going on around that time
uh,
you put out the single?
still in school, still in school. Finally was kind of like my graduation gift to myself, because I graduated May 16th of 2016. So yeah, it was basically like a
Oh,
graduation present to myself. Um, and I just wanted to have some sort of body of work of music out there, that people could listen to, because for so many years growing up, people would be like, oh, when you gonna put an album out? When you gonna put some music out? So it was like, okay, here, y'all wanted some original music. Here we go. So that was my very first body of work, my very first project.
okay. The year later, you drop out. I mean, a year later, you drop another single called "New Kid in Town."
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Moving to LA, that was really inspired by moving to LA and just the journey that a lot of us as uh, independent artists, creatives, actors, entrepreneurs, those of us who are interested in the entertainment industry, um, that's really what inspired it. Just that move from a small town kind of environment to a bigger city and the highs and lows.
Yeah. And, yeah, and yeah, California always been like the number one go-to state, to be in Hollywood and connect with the right producers, the right writers, and whole distributions, labels, and stuff.
Yeah.
I know what's a new high for you when you first land there. To be like, man, I could really, build a career around this
Yeah.
and take my music, further and
Yeah.
stuff. Now, in between that, did you have like offers from like labels, or you thought to yourself, so you know what, I'm gonna play it smart. I'm gonna go the independent route and see how far this will go, or
I
what
wish.
was, yeah,
I wish it worked like that. No,
yeah,
up until this point, I have not, I haven't been blessed with the opportunity to have a label meeting yet. One day, it'll come. But yeah, I've been independent this whole time. And again, trial and error, figuring things out as I go. So that way, when that time does come, and I get to finally have that big label meeting, if you will, I'll have the best presentation possible, and they'll be able to see that I am a well put together, well-rounded artist, as opposed to just
right.
some kid who can sing, or just not
Uh,
some kid, but just another guy who can sing
yeah.
really well and has great songs.
All right. The next single, you dropped more in 2018,
Yeah.
and,
So just
and
just something fun to put out there. It's actually one of my highest streaming songs to date. Hopefully "Stuck" will be the song to kind of surpass that. But yeah, it was just something fun to put out because I hadn't put out music in a while.
yeah, for you as an artist, how important is it to take your time to make sure you write the right type of songs and make sure it's out there? Because sometimes some artists, they get so infatuated, like, man, like I gotta put something out there, gotta put something out there. And timing for you as a writer, I mean, for you as an artist is everything. How important is it for you when it's time to put out something that you feel like the audience will love?
It's very important indeed. Songs matter. Songs do still matter. Even though we live in a day and age where songs seem to be a lot shorter, there's not always a bridge, they still matter. And so you don't want to just put out anything. You want to make sure that you're putting something out that is of great presentation. And so uh, that's where my passion for putting together great songs comes from. Just wanting to have great presentation.
All right. And now 2018, that said, you put down Feelings for You, the interlude,
Mm-hmm.
and then a year later you dropped Vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what inspired, so for you to put out those two records on those three platforms?
So Feelings for You, again, just another song to just put out there after I had gotten off the TV show. And I just wanted to have some sort of song to keep people tied over until we had finished working on the next project, which was Vulnerable, the EP. And so Vulnerable was the project that I put out, like I said, in 2019. I wanted to make sure that, again, I had a well-rounded body of work, and more great R&B.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because I remember watching the show and I didn't get a chance to really watch it like it because I'm always DJing, doing other stuff. 'Cause especially you on like a kind of like a reality show and you deal with 30 or 40 different personalities,
Mm-hmm.
egos, people with so much pride. When you was on that show, you thought to yourself like, you know what? I'm just gonna come in, be me. If they don't like it, hey, I was gonna make the best out of it, and hopefully, it takes me
Yeah.
somewhere.
No, that was definitely the hope. Because by that point, I had auditioned for every show that was out there. I had auditioned for American Idol, The Voice, all of them, and I wanted to do a show um, that I felt like would understand me. And so when the opportunity came along, uh, to be on season 2. It's like, okay, well, they're allowing me to be the kind of artist that I see myself being. I'm still kind of figuring myself out at the time, but I had a bit more of a clear vision of the kind of artist I wanted to be, and so it worked out really well. And so I'm happy for that experience. I'm always glad when people say they remember me from being on the show, and every now and again those clips still will circulate around on social media. So I'm very happy about my time on that show, and every year since, it's just been about building off of that momentum, keeping the momentum going, staying visible, and I feel like for the most part I've done a pretty good job.
As an artist, when it comes to creating songs, what's the mood for you when you record records?
The mood as far as
Like far as like when you feel it, and you put stuff together in a song, as far as like telling a story or something that you experience in a relationship or whatever. Yeah.
It usually the songs I put together are based kind of off real life experience. Um, so the mood can change depending on what the experience of the song that I'm writing is. With
Yeah.
Stuck, obviously it's a bit more somber, not as happy, a bit more begging and pleading type R&B, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it just depends on the experience that's attached to that song.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because like whenever I hear a song and especially with the words and stuff, you hear the bridge, and I'm like, wow, man, like is this song for real? This person actually went through it, and of course, it's like a movie. You read a script and you want to make sure this character is real as it gets, even though you ain't got nothing to do
Yeah,
with that, but just make it come to life and stuff. And I think that's what's missing today is that there's a lot of feeling in music and stuff,
yeah.
on the emotional side of things and stuff. Okay, the next record, Think of You in 2020 and Flex and Beloved. Now, during that time, you was kind of like on the road a little bit, in 2020, around the time the pandemic hit. Was there any plans that you had going in 2020 before it was the closeout?
Um, Really, it was more so trying to just navigate uh that whole unsure period. Um, yeah, I knew I uh, had started working on some stuff around the tail. Well, yeah, more so at the top of 2020. I kind of started getting ideas together, but obviously none of us knew that the whole
Yeah,
the whole world was going to kind of shut down. So when things started to happen and the shutdown came into play, it was like, okay, well, what else is there? You know, let me write whatever it is that I'm feeling. Let me reflect on what has happened previously over the last year, and put songs together that kind of encapsulate that time. And that is what led to uh, the Beloved project. And I was just like, okay, my original goal was to try to get it out over the summertime. Uh,
mhm,
you know, Technology kind of played a part in uh,
yeah,
the release date being pushed back, and so we ended up putting out the majority of. Well, actually, no, we ended up putting out the project on election week, which, as you can probably imagine, was very nerve wracking. Um,
yeah.
yeah, because it was just like the
Oh
the
man, with so
whole
much stuff going
world
on.
the whole world is watching, what's about to happen with this election, and I'm just trying to get my
Yeah,
music out here. It's like, why did I do that? But in the end,
yeah,
everything kind of worked out. A lot of love was shown to the project. And I just did my best to ride that chapter out for as long as I could until we had some new music ready.
yeah. it's funny you mentioned that too because with that whole election, then so much between albums, EPs, and singles coming out, and I thought to myself like, dang, how can an artist promote their music and you got this distraction? I said, man, I hate for some artists had to push it back to a certain time. You just never know what's going to happen. I'm glad that situation is over and
Yeah.
gone. Thank God and
Yeah.
stuff. To get back to some type of normalcy and stuff. Man, what? It's like when I hear your music, man. It's like when I heard some of your songs, I said, wow, man, he kind of give you an Angel Marcel, The Weeknd, certain people type of vibes and stuff, man. And what I like about your music, I said, well, it got this like what's that new sound called alternative R&B. When it comes to like beats and stuff, does it catch you right away, or does it take time to grasp into it, or you just be like, you know what, I'm not feeling that, let me go to the next?
Typically, I try to work actually from scratch. Usually, I'll lock in with the producer. Like I said, with this song, Stuck, I already had like the melody and all of that voice noted, and so I just sent it to the producer, and we locked in at the studio and crafted like just a rough idea with the guitar, just so we can kind of map out where the song was going to go and all of that. And then say probably maybe 2 to 3 weeks later, he sent me back like a full track with production. So yeah, I really try to work from scratch. Every now and again, you'll come across like a nice beat, but I really try to work from scratch simply because you just never know where the music may take you, and I don't want to get stuck. No pun
Right.
intended.
Yeah.
But you just never want to get kind of stuck in just doing, a simple chord progression over and over. Like you want the music to take you somewhere.
Yeah. 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 That's absolutely, I totally agree on that. I always ask artists this, when it comes to the studio, some artists say they like to have the lights down, or they wear the shades and stuff. For you, what are the things that you need that kind of like get you started and get you motivated to, want to record that day?
Um, usually just some water.
Yeah, that's a
Usually
good
just some
plus.
water. I'm not one of those kind of artists that, I have to have mood lighting and all that. It's just like, let's just come ready to work. Uh, let's get in, get done, and get out. With the recording process for a lot of the new music that I am getting ready to release soon here, in addition to Stuck, we recorded doing like 12-hour sessions.
Wow,
So it's like 3 songs over the course of 12 hours. And so there
wow,
was not, for me at least, I didn't eat. I didn't really bother to do a whole lot of trying to, socialize. It was like, okay, time is money. Let's get these songs done.
wow, man.
Yeah.
That's like also Michael Jackson stuff right there.
You can say
Just
you can
knocking
say
stuff
that.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. For you as an artist, I know because when I ask some people, how you manage your voice, as years go by, how, like what are things you take care of your voice? Because I know sometimes in life, personal stuff be in the way or anything, but how did you manage, take care of your voice over the years?
Just exercising great vocal health, not really doing a whole lot of stuff that's going to bring long-term damage to your voice. So, being mindful of the foods you're consuming, being mindful of the just the elements, if you know that you're doing traveling, especially since the pandemic, doing traveling, making sure if you're going through an airport to keep, your ear, nose, and throat kind of covered, because you just never know what elements may try to make you sick before or after a show. At one point, I would kind of sleep with a scarf around my neck at night to just kind of, like I said, keep my vocal cords warm, especially if I knew I had to sing early in the day the next morning. Um, so yeah, just little things, and of course, just simple stuff like not not overexerting, getting your rest, drinking your water or your fluids, and just being mindful. And if something doesn't feel right with your voice, like if something doesn't feel right, get it checked out, or again, get your rest. Start by getting your rest. But if
Yeah.
the issue persists, well, then, go get it checked out and see if there's something that is possibly damaged or just needs to be fixed or needs medicine or whatever.
Man, I think you're the first one that actually broke down the details, because a lot of artists that's independent interview, it's like they want to get their thoughts out there and they just come up with whatever they think in their head. But
Definitely.
the way you brought it down, man, I think that's the greatest solution because we got some artists, ain't no secret, they smoke and stuff, but they don't realize the older they get, those same notes you once hit, it won't be there, so you had to sing it another way around if you do sing that same song again.
And part of it also is just being mindful. I think that, you know, as we age, as we get older, the voice is going to change naturally. It's just a part of life. It's a part of the human body. It's going to change. So if you're expecting your fades to sound, how they did 20 years ago, you're probably going to be in for a little bit of a rude awakening. Like they may still be in great vocal health, but there's going to be some sort of change, whether they may have to bring the key down a bit or whether their tone has developed a little bit. There's going to be some sort of change because life is about change and the body changes with it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. You're absolutely right about that because it kind of reminded me of when Tevin Campbell's first album, and I was telling one of my friends, I said each song, you could tell his voice was changing from 13 to 16. Like, I mean, he was going through puberty like it wasn't nothing. And I was shocked the label kept those songs as they did, but it worked
Yeah.
out. Nobody didn't say nothing. Stuff. But with that being said, before we wrap it up, what's the goal for you in 2023?
I really want to be intentional about making this a breakout / breakthrough year for me and my music. I really want to get out more and perform in some other cities. So we're working on some stuff. Hopefully, as the next few months go by, we'll be able to solidify some things and lock things in. But I really just want to make this a breakthrough / breakout year for my music. And at the end of the year, I want to be able to look back and be proud of all of the work we've put in, and look back and see, my name being mentioned on, some of these best of 2023 lists, especially in terms of R&B. So yeah, that's my goal, my hope, and my intention for this year.
All right. Um, Now, if you can tell people my end where to download your music and where to follow you at all your social media platforms.
So if anybody wants to check me out, of course, they can follow me on here or any social media at I'm JeRonelle. Again, that's I'm JeRonelle. And you can find my new single Stuck, as well as all of my previous projects on Apple Music / iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, Audio Max, SoundCloud, all of these wonderful places. Apple or Amazon, Pandora, it's all over the place.
All right. Alrighty, man. With that being said, man, my brother, keep doing what you're doing, man, because God put you on this earth for a reason, now for a season, man. You definitely made your mark, and as it grows and evolves, yeah, man, I could definitely see your name mentioned in with the best. So, the party just getting started.
Yes, yes.
All they know, man, you have a blessed night. Of course, on my end, I'm in the Midwest, East Coast. Hey, you in California, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's
Okay,
like
yeah.
it's like 4:30 now, so it's almost nighttime.
Yeah,
Just about.
I got family members in the north side of California. Yeah, I definitely got to come out there and network. I haven't been out there. Well, yeah, the year before the pandemic. It's been a bit. But anyway, with that being said, you have a blessed noon on your end.
Yes,
And
sir.
man, definitely got to do this again, my brother. I can't wait for you drop the video, and man, more great things to come, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right,
All
all right, peace.
Thank you, man. Peace.
Got it.